Okay, I'm not writing the definition. I'm going to show you an example. With a marker that shows up better. Okay, when you have your x and y axis, this is called your initial. This is called your initial side because that's where it starts. This is called your terminal side because that's where it ends. Let's say that that's 60 degrees. Okay, so that is a standard angle. It starts on the positive side of the x-axis and goes counterclockwise as your quadrants go. Okay, that is a standard angle. Are there any questions? The initial side is, yes, Emma?
You said it starts on the positive side and go.
I said it starts on the positive side of the x-axis and goes counterclockwise as your quadrants go. The side where it stops is called the terminal side because terminal or terminate means to end. If you have a terminal disease, that is the disease that will end your life. When you're at the airport and you get to the terminal, you're at the end of your trip. Okay? Terminal means end. Initial means beginning. So even if you had your angle like this, if you had a 270 degree angle, it would go like this, and this would be your terminal side. Okay? Everybody got that? Terminal side is where it ends, right? Okay. Now, can I erase this? All right. Now, coterminal. Think about what I just told you and somebody come up with the definition for coterminal angles. Think about it first.
Is it the...
Think about it first.
Is it the size with two...
Top. Okay.
Is it the size with two angles, man?
Thank you. You said it kind of twisted. He said, say it again.
There's two sides.
Two angles.
Two angles with two sides, man.
Two angles that end in the same place. Because they're that means two, right? Terminal angles. All that means is you have two angles in standard position, starting from the positive side of the x-axis, and moving. So two angles in standard position that end in the same place. Two angles. Let me write this and she's recording. Two standard angles. Standard means they start on the x-axis positive side. Okay, some people will say two angles that end in the same place. Some people will say two angles that have the same terminal side. Some people will say two standard angles that share a terminal side. However you want to put it. Two angles that end in the same place. That's basically what it is. Okay? Now, I'm going to give you all of these definitions at one time. Reference angle. No, let me give you an example of the coterminal first. Okay. So, if I have a 45-degree angle, how can I create another angle that will end in the exact same place? Starts in the same place and ends in the same place. How would I do that? Think. I'm going to start in the same place and end in the same place. How would I do that? Say it.
You have to go around 360.
Thank you. I would have to go around 360. So what am I doing? I'm actually doing what? In mathematics, I'm doing what with 360? I'm adding 360, folks. So, you're absolutely right. I go around, come to 360, and then add 45. Isn't that about 405? So, 45 degrees and 405 degrees. These are both coterminal angles. Why? They both started and ended at the same place. Now, in short, how do you find a coterminal angle? What did you just do? Thank you. I can add 360 or
Go around 360.
add 360 or subtract 360. So why aren't you writing that down? To make a coterminal angle, you add 360 or do what? Subtract 360. Yes, you can have negative angles because they just go the opposite way. So you add 360 or subtract 360. Now if I'm dealing with radians, what do I do? Think, don't answer yet. If with degrees I add 360 or subtract 360, what do I do with radians? Why are we talking about degrees when I'm talking about radians? Do not give me degree measurements when I'm talking about radians. So, you said with degrees I add 360 or subtract 360, what do I do with radians? Why are you still giving me degrees?
This one.
Excuse me? Not pi. 360 in radians is what, people? Radians. Thank you. 2 pi. So what are you supposed to do with radians? Add or subtract 2 pi. People, I asked you to remember this. Did I not ask you to commit this to memory when I gave it to you?
Yes, sir.
So, if I'm dealing with degrees, I add or subtract 360. If I'm dealing with radians, what should I do? If I'm dealing with degrees and I add or subtract 360, what do I do with radians? Thank you. Add or subtract 2 pi. Just like in geometry, when they told you you had to memorize your definitions in order to make it easy, when I ask you to memorize something overnight, if you don't do that, it won't be easy the next day. Now, it is very important that you understand your conversion factors. Pi over 2 is 90. Pi is 180. You have to know those. And when somebody says, I want to know blah, blah, blah radians, never say anything in degrees. If I'm talking about radians, you never say 180. That's like talking to somebody who knows Spanish and they can't speak English, but you keep speaking English to them. I don't care how slow you say English to them. Are they going to understand it? No. And Americans always think that. If I say it slower, they'll understand. No, they won't. They don't understand English, regardless of how slow you say it. So, how many times can I do 360 and still come back to this line? As many times as I want. So, how many coterminal angles can you have? Thank you. Because I can add 360 as many times as I want, or I can subtract 360 as many times as I want.
So
Okay.
when you subtract the 360, like do it like it go on the y axis now?
Counterclockwise.
Thank you. Just goes in the opposite direction, sir. So instead of going like this, you would have gone like this.
Oh, no, clockwise.
You would have gone like this. Now, check this out. If I had gone this way, I don't even have a full circle. What's 360 minus 45?